morning. Welcome to another interesting special edition. It's still Tech Talk with AFO, but it's a special edition. And in the last 3 weeks, it's been about leadership. How can we get the best out of our future leaders? Unleashing the future leaders is the theme of this interesting conversation. And we've been on this for the last 3 weeks. The first week, it was about understanding leadership. What is leadership about? We had interesting conversation on who a leader is. We saw some leaders that we could identify with, and we saw some leaders that are not good leaders that we can identify with. Last week, it was about visionary leadership. If there's anything I took out of the conversation with PF, something he emphasized, he said, an individual without a vision is like a blind man. And we all saw the example of what it means to be without your sight. At that session, PF, of course, gave us an assignment, which I believe you've all taken your time to work on. And I'm going to be calling out some of you guys to talk about your assignment. How many of you have seen the movie as directed by PF? Show of hand. How many of you? Okay, all right. Joshua, you've seen it. But the question is, how many of you submitted your assignment? As at this morning, I only got submission from 10 of us. So I would want to call on some of the submission I received, okay? Because the question PF wanted us to answer, 2 questions actually. The first assignment from Praise, which is quite interesting, is we should look around us. Look around the world and look at a problem that you see. This problem exists. As an individual, how can I solve it? Think about it and think of a solution, as this is a problem and this is how I intend to solve it. The second one was for us to watch the Maxim Baby film. It's a story about Tyler Perry, which we are all familiar with. What are your key takeouts from that video? Who is ready to go first from those that submitted their assignment? I think Rafi has his hand up. Rafi, what problem in the world do you want to solve?
Oh, I forgot to put my hand down, but it was for the question.
It was for the question.
Oh, yeah, but something I want to solve is global warming.
Global warming, okay.
Yes.
How do you intend to solve global warming? What solution do you have? Like, are you working on something? How do you intend to solve the problem, global warming? While you're thinking about that, who else can talk about his key takeout from the film Maxim Baby? What is it that you learned from Tyler Perry?
Can I start off with the one that said, what problem in the world can we solve?
Yes, please.
Okay, so mine was police brutality.
Police brutality. Okay, what about it?
So police brutality is a big issue. It's like it's unnecessary force used by law enforcement officers. It started in 2020 in the death of George Floyd, when a police officer knelt on his neck for 9 minutes. This incident ruined the police reputation. It took an enormous toll on the African American group, which led to them holding protests against law enforcement. It's not just African Americans that are suffering from police brutality, but many other minority groups. To stop police brutality, we need to provide better training for officers and create more nonviolent methods to stop the situation. By making sure body cameras are always turned on, and when when they turn off their body camera, they'll receive repercussions. And then when an officer racially profiles a person, they'll be forced to take a course on treating people equally. And lastly, we can add greater punishments to officers that demonstrate police brutality.
Khaled, can you hold your thoughts, right? You've talked about the problem. I think PF's interest is, as Khaled, how do you intend to solve that problem? Are you coming up with a solution? Like, do you have an idea of how this problem should be solved? Like,
yes, sir.
An idea that has never existed before. I guess that's what PF is looking for, right? And I'm sure he's listening to you. He probably has something for, the best idea. So hold your thought. Let me call on Mubarak.
Yes, sir.
Salam alaikum, sir. For the problem one,
Yeah.
I saw the problem against obesity in around the world. Obesity leads to different health problems that may cause death and chronic arrest or whatever, all the other problems, right? So I figured out the solution, which is the world that we live in. Most people listen to influencers and like people of popularity. So I think we should convince those people to promote the eating healthy, exercising, and all those things that reduce obesity. And if that works, the obesity rate should be able to go down.
Good idea, Mubarak. But again, just like my response to Khalid, right? As Mubarak, you've identified a problem of obesity, right? I mean,
Yes, sir.
Mubarak should come up with a solution that is unique to Mubarak. I mean, I'm wrong. I might be wrong with this. Maybe when PF, comes live, he probably would, correct me if I'm wrong. That what exactly is PF looking out for, guys? I probably will have to bring in PF at this juncture. But very quickly, let me give an example of a problem which I'm also working on. Remember, the point PF is making to us is, as an individual, it's important for you to have a vision of your own, right? And having a vision of your own is because you've identified a particular problem, a particular need that needs somebody to fill it, somebody to address that problem, right? So if you look at this program that we are all part of, it's a problem AFO identified, right? If you look at US today, not just US, the gap between the privileged and the underprivileged when it comes to education is so wide. Globally, it's a major issue. I'll give you some example in Africa. It will shock you guys to know that 93% of kids in Nigeria between the ages of 15 and 25 don't have access to IT education. As an individual AFO, I see that as a problem and I want to bridge it. And bridging it is how I came up with different solutions. One of it is the one I'm doing for North America now that is called Spark Scholars. In Nigeria, for example, I'm doing something that I call IT Launchpad, right? IT Launchpad is primarily to empower Nigerian youth with the IT fundamental education they need for free, all right? In my own little way, I want to solve that problem. You understand? So I guess what Praise is looking for from all of us is, you've identified a problem. How do you want to solve it? Maybe that would help you craft your vision as an individual. I would want to call Praise in at this point. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, sir, we are ready for you. In the beginning, we also joined the protests in Nigeria before resuming for your session at 11 o'clock.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Okay, good. How are you, everyone?
Well, fine, sir.
Okay. Yeah. I love what you guys are doing. And I knew that it's going to be tough to answer the questions. So I knew that you guys will. I wanted you to do it your way before showing you a template that can help you solve problems as leaders. Because it's not enough for you as leaders to say, hey, this is what I want to do. You must be able to solve the problem in a systematic format. And so I want to welcome you to today's session. And I want you to pay attention because I will show you a problem-solving template that should help you. So you're going to repeat the same task, pick a problem, and you're going to use the model I'm going to teach you today to solve the problem. So today we're looking at influencing people as a solution provider. And I won't appreciate you. Again, I'm not going to make it a very long class, but you're going to answer a number of questions today. Now, leadership is what the world needs. I'm sure you're following the American election and you're saying Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. All right. And you can see how people are rallying around and everyone is saying, oh, I'm for Harris, I'm for Donald Trump. I don't know who you guys support. I don't know which of the leaders you guys love. and why you love them. Okay, maybe I should even ask, who wants to try? Which of them do you support and why? Let me see. Can I see your hands up?
Good morning, sir.
Yeah.
I believe that Kamala Harris will be very good as president because she'll be the first woman president, and I feel like that will be very good for our country and
Okay.
pave the way for other women leaders.
Okay, it's time for women leaders. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you, Olamide. You were the only one who raised your hand. Okay, so we go ahead. Now, when we started, I taught you that leadership is the personhood of discovery, development, and deployment of personal powers and becoming a system that assists others replicate the same in making the world a better place. So the definition again actually says that leadership is who you are. It's a personal discovery of yourself, personal development of yourself, and deployment. You know, I was telling someone what I was doing at the age of 17, how I'd left home for university at the age of 17, and how my parents did not follow me, how I'd carried my things, only go to get to school and discover that my admission had been given to someone else. And I had to sit in there without even telling my father or my mother what I did, you know, eventually to gain admission, you know, at the age of 17. Right. And how I was in school for 5 years and none of my parents ever showed up in my school, you know, and how that built independence into me to know I can always confront any problem and defeat the problem. And so I'm thinking right now, if you went to college and your parents never showed up, how would it feel? Won't you start crying and say, oh, my parents don't love me, they don't love me, why are they not showing up, and things like that? That sometimes life throws you up in a situation to exercise the power that is within you to show that you've got this and you can handle this. So leadership is the personhood, is the person, is the you, right? But that you, I've got to discover yourself. I've got to develop yourself and deploy your personal power. What it means is the personal power that is resident in you, and you've got to work on that power to become the best of your kind. Now, there's a school of thought who are always asking, are leaders born or are they made? Truth is, leaders are both born and they are made, right? Because there was no leader that was made that wasn't born. Everyone will be born, right? But the people who take responsibilities for their lives are the ones who become made leaders, right? And that's why if you don't prepare for leadership, you would realize that after a while, all the people are prepared will begin to lead you. So I was having a conversation with my son who is 16. We're doing a leadership development class, one-on-one mentoring that I do with him. And so, I mean, he's schooling in Canada. So I asked him for the greatest problem he has observed in their school. And he said there's lack of authenticity that a lot of the children have got, low self-esteem. So I asked him to design a solution for Canada that will solve that problem. So he went to do it. And then I felt we did very well. So I showed him how else to do it. I gave him a 13-point process to go and do it. I mean, initially felt like, so I went to tell my wife that why is my dad making me do this? I don't want to present anything to the Senate, you know, and I called him again and I said, you know why? I'm preparing you for leadership in the future because one of the scarcest commodities in the future is going to be leadership because a lot of young people are not taking responsibilities for their lives. When we understand the making of a dispensable leader, it becomes very easy to replicate. And that's why you guys are privileged to be learning how to lead even now, because it's a subject that the American young people never learn. No one is teaching them. They're watching movies, they're playing games, they're going to the shooting range, but they're not learning how to lead. And that's why you can still see old people, 80-something-year-olds seeking to lead America because young people are not taking responsibilities. Now, there are 9 portraits of a dispensable leader or an exceptional leader that you need to pay attention to. 1, personal discovery, ownership, and problem solving. An authentic leader, for you to be an exceptional leader, you have to have personally conquered yourself. In fact, it's called self-leadership. Self-leadership is the most important leadership because if you can't lead yourself, how do you lead an organization? How do you lead a nation? So personal discovery that, hey, I have personally discovered myself. I know who I am. I know how to arrange my space. My parents don't need to shout on me before I study, before I create a study plan for myself, before I know how to take my exams and pass my exams. Personal discovery, personal ownership, and then I can solve problems. Now, leaders are not problems to solutions. They are solutions to problems. So to say, every time you say a problem, that problem is there because there's no leader that has showed up. That the moment you show up as a leader, you can literally solve that problem, right? So problem solving. Number two, visionary, which is what we did last week, that a leader has got to be visionary. That is the capacity to see beyond everyone else and to see ahead and to plan towards that end. Number three, service and sacrifice. Leaders are sacrificial. A leader is not the one, when they go to party and people have not eaten, is the first to eat his food, and then the food has finished before he gets to the followers. Now that's a bad leader, and that's the way African leaders are leading, right? Many of them, they would have finished eating and then they're even vomiting. Meanwhile, some people are starving and they've not eaten. A leader must be sacrificial. You need to understand that your job is not to put remote control in your hand and control everyone. Your job is to serve the people, is to make sacrifices, to say, hey, my people are hungry, yet I'm collecting fat salaries. Can I devote my salary to feeding them while I don't have to collect any salary? That's the leadership thinking. Number four, leader, respect for others and their potential. A leader will respect other people and will respect their potential. A leader does not think, I am better than this. They understand that it's a position of responsibility. So I will respect you. I don't have to accept your ways, but I will respect your humanity. Whether you're a Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, Hindus, anything, you call yourself, I will respect you. Now, I'm not likely going to accept your way, but I will respect your personhood. So leaders show respect for others and their potential, knowing fully well that there is good in everyone, right? And that there's something in everyone that can benefit the entire world. Leaders, another portrait is love. Leaders are lovers. If you don't love the people, you cannot serve the people. Many leaders love the crowd. They don't love the people. If you love the people, you will consistently think of how to make their lives better. That's what leadership will do. So the policies you give will show that you truly care about people, and some of the laws that you enact will show, that we love our people, right? A good leader is known by his disposition towards the people. Whatever decision is taken, is it born out of love or born out of, the need to flex yourself and show that I'm the one leading here? Now, another trait of leaders is that leaders transform leaders into better leaders. Leaders don't produce followers. Leaders produce leaders. So you are comfortable for other people to challenge you and you can lead leaders. Many people lead followers, they can't lead leaders. You need to grow yourself and be competent enough that you find yourself in a class with the best brains around the world, yet you're standing to lead them. So a leader can transform leaders into better leaders, right? And you are not afraid if they're even better than you because you know you're their leader. A leader is not the smartest, it's not the best, it's not the richest, but it's the one who can create an ideal environment where the potential of everyone can find expression. Then leaders must have courage to take tough decisions, right? A leader is not nice, a leader wants to be right. A leader is not always nice, a leader wants to be right. To say, this decision is a tough decision, but we have to take this decision at this point in time. They don't run away from decision making. They take decisions that benefit the people. So for example, if a leader's father is caught driving, wrongly, over speeding, the leader is going to have to take a tough decision if the man needs to go to jail to say, well, daddy, I love you as my father, but the law says you've got to go to jail for 6 months, you've got to go. That's a tough decision, right? The moment a leader looks at it and says, it's my father, I must not go, right? Leader has compromised. That's why leadership is a lot. It takes a lot of courage to take talk. I don't know how many of you are going to preside over as a judge over your father's being sentenced to 6 months imprisonment or something like that. That could be tough, but that's what leaders do, right? And so promotion of systems above your esteem. A leader will give in to a system, right? To say, this is what I feel, but this is what the system says. I am going to promote the system above my esteem. I have a personal bias, but this is what the law says. We're going to follow what we decided to do, right? And so leaders have ability to release without holding back. There is an African adage that says, a candle loses nothing by lighting other candles. So a proper leader is able to set others free and release them without holding back. It's not going to say, you know what, oh, I'm not going to teach him what I know, you know, because if I teach him now, he will pass more than me. No, a teacher will teach everyone what he knows, because he knows that, you see, the more enlightened minds we have, the better our world is. Now, the question is this: which of these traits do you have, or which of them do you love? Which of these traits would you really love to have? Can I see your answer on the chat box? Okay, mine will be visionary. Khalid, thank you very much. You love to be visionary. Okay, fantastic. Courage to take tough decisions. Habib, respecting others. Mubarak, thank you, thank you. Courage to take tough decisions. Transforming leaders into better leaders. Good. Ability to release without holding back. Okay, fantastic. Well done. Well done. I love what you guys have done. Now, who do you say you are? And that is one critical problem that leadership is asking. So if you look at number one, it talks about personal discovery, ownership, and problem solving. Now, when you don't know who you are and what you contain, you will seek to be everyone else, which always ending up in you becoming a nobody. That one of the critical tools in leadership is your capacity to know who you are beyond every reasonable doubt. I know who I am, right? And I know I am intelligent. I know I provide direction for people. So initially, people used to say about me that, Praise, you're very arrogant, you're very cocky. But I know what I know. I know my name, right? Because you're angry about my name, now I'm not going to call myself Mujahid. No, my name is Praise. If you're not comfortable with it, it's your problem, but I know who I am. So you need to know yourself more than anybody, or else the society is going to sway you. A proper leader does not run around based on the whims and caprices of what the world is saying. So the world says, you know, everybody come and play again, PS5. That's what we're playing right now. You run around and you go and join them and you are distracted. The leader never does that. A leader focuses on where it's going, and it goes, for it against all odds. It's able to say, no, yes, it's not a problem, you guys are doing this, but this is what I want. And so if you look at that quality of personal discovery, ownership, and problem solving, that is the critical tool you need to influence people. Because the most important aspect of leadership is self-leadership. Self-leadership. And when you have not discovered, accepted, and developed yourself such that your greatness is not dependent on the smallness of others, you simply become an impostor, posturing as a leader. There are so many people who call themselves leaders in Africa today who are not leaders. Even in America, they call themselves leaders, but they are not leaders, because a leader is comfortable in himself, but is also comfortable in who others are. So a leader does not want other people to be like him. He wants them to be themselves. So a leader does not suppress people. A leader creates the environment where people are themselves. In Africa, if you put many people around their governors, they are shaking. They never talk. They keep quiet because the governor is in the room or the president is in the room, because there is something in their head that says, this man, is more powerful than me. It's more. So they are not free. That is not leadership. That is servitude, right? If a public servant comes in, you should be able to call him and say, oh, sir, this was what you promised. You have not done it. But you know, if you do that in Africa, they will jail you or they might kill. And so everyone is afraid. Now, you need to understand that personal ownership and solution is one of the hallmarks of great leaders. So as a leader, you need to understand that you must discover yourself, self-discovery. You must accept what you have discovered, and you must develop yourself into someone that is great, and such that you don't care what others are doing, you know what you're doing. For example, I want to transform the family life space in America. That's what I'm doing, right? And so I don't care what others are doing. I am just focused. I'm taking responsibilities. I am teaching families on how to build their families and how to make their kids work. That is what I've chosen to do. So you need to discover, develop, and accept yourself. So we say that discovery is a combination of your identity, which is your knowledge of yourself, and your purpose, which is the knowledge of your assignment. So there's who you are, there is why you are here. If you know why you are here, you will know the problem you were created to solve. and then your potential, which is your asset. What are the talents that you have? So who am I? Why am I here? What do I have? Who am I? Why am I here? What do I have? If you combine those three, you will have become very formidable to say, I know the talents I have. I cannot be this because I know what I contain, right? It is your personal revelation about your identity and personal power. The purpose of your power and how best to use it in embracing it as if it's the only thing that exists on the planet. So if what you know to do is to teach, you embrace it and give it your best shot to say, you know what, I'm going to teach better than anybody. I'm going to work on it. Not that you sleep off, you eat a lot, and then you'll say, you know, I know how to teach. No, someone said something I will never forget. He said, every time you are messing up, someone else is warming up to take your place. I'll take that again. Every time you are messing up, someone else is warming up to take your place. So every time you say, let me just sleep a little bit, someone else is practicing to take your place. And so that is how it is. The world does not give a vacuum. The world will move on if you decide to misbehave. Successful leaders discover the leadership within them and they embrace it to say, this is the problem I want to solve and I'm going to give it my best shot. It doesn't matter what the world says. It doesn't matter what my status says. It doesn't matter what anybody says. I am a leader. I'm standing for my world and I'm demanding justice in this critical area. So here are a couple of questions I want you to answer in your notebook. Number one, who did you call yourself as a child? When you were younger, what did you call yourself? Did you attempt to solve as a child or a young adult? What problem have you ever attempted to solve? So when I was a child, I called myself the drummer boy because I was always playing drums. What problem did I attempt to solve as a child? I tried to create a drum set, and then I tried to counsel older people. Number three, what problems are you trying to solve even now? Family life problems, and raise elder children who love their world, love the people, and are leaders. What was your greatest area of struggle as a young person? Or what is, could be that maybe you're still struggling. What was your greatest area of struggle as a child or as a teenager? My greatest area of struggle was my esteem. My esteem was very, very bad. So I had low self-esteem. And that's why I don't want anybody to have a low self-esteem anymore. What are you most passionate about that you can discuss all day without remembering food and time? What are you most passionate about? If you ask me to discuss family life across the globe, I mean, you got me. I don't remember food. I don't remember time. I can do that for 1 full month, and I'll be teaching people. What do you criticize the most around you and in others for which you think you have a solution for? I criticize children, young people kill others with guns, and young people who bully, criticize a lot of parenting responsibilities. What is it for you? Okay, that takes me to the next question. Who do you think you are versus what others says you are? What is that people say about you, and who do you really think you are? I think I am a light illuminating the world and making my world a better place. What do you do so well versus what others applaud about you? What is that thing that you do so well that people clap for you for? I teach so well that people are always clapping for me when I teach. And they always say to me, oh, Praise, you're so good. If we strip you of everything you have, including your degrees and titles, what will you have left? If we take away your house, where you live, your room, your video games, what do you have? What will you have left? If there are 5 keywords to describe you, what will they be? 5 keywords. Maybe compassionate, wonderful, intelligent. What will they be? If you are asked to pick just one out of those words that describe the authentic you, what will it be? So out of the 5. So if you ask me 5 adjectives, which one will describe me? Maybe praise is illuminating, or praise is compassionate, or praise is a solution provider. If you have come as a non-living thing, what would you have come as, and what value would you have added to humanity? I would have come as light, and I would have solved ignorance problem. Come as a non-living thing, what would you have come as? And what value would you have added to humanity? Who do you think you are based on all your answers? Who do you think you are based on all your answers? That's answer to the last question. I want you to put it on the... Who has found answers? Take a look at all your answers. There's something that is shouting on you. This is who I am. Who are you? A fun but caring person who makes others feel warm inside. Well done, Olamide. So if you're a caring person, a kind and respectful person, okay, I want better words, bigger words. Are you an outlier? Are you a maverick? Are you a creative person? Are you an innovator? Are you a diplomat? A smart but kind of lazy. No, don't describe yourself with a negative word. Okay, but I mean, if you have said you're lazy, then what are you going to do, Kalik? You think you're lazy? A person who treats others respectfully. An energetic who likes to eat. Hi. An energetic person who likes to eat. Eating. If food is what you're thinking about. Okay, where are the other people? You're energetic, but you like to eat. Interesting. So what kind of leader do you think you are based on your answers? Are you a compassionate leader? Are you a solution provider? You're a powerful leader? Or maybe you're even a bad leader. Honest leader, that's Toby. Maybe you're a competent leader. Maybe you're an outstanding leader. Maybe you're a selfless leader. What type of leader are you? Kind and respectful. Okay, Tolu says, I like to hear people's opinion so everyone can be heard. I'm an optimistic leader. So you're like Obama. Well done, Tolu. Well done, Daniel, Deborah, Adetona. A positive leader. Okay, what does that mean? You always believe the best about everything. A listening leader. Okay. Fantastic. Okay, good. Now, at this juncture, one of the critical things you need to know is how to solve the problem. So, for example, I gave you, a problem-solving task last time, right? And so if you want to solve any problem, no matter how big the problem is, there's a simple template you can use. And it's called the 6 thinking arts model of solving problem. It was a theory that was propounded by a man called Dr. Edward de Bono. So whenever you're confronted with any problem, so for example, if you say you want to solve global warming, or you want to solve gun violence, or you want to solve tech problem, or whatever problem you want to solve, the first art you use is your white art, which we call neutrality. In the white art, the first thing you want to do about the problem is, what are the facts? What are the facts about the problem? So you look for data, you look for what people have written, what are the facts? What are the facts is looking at what exactly is the real issue, right? So you list as many issues as possible. You list them on a sheet of paper. Say, okay, these are the issues, these are the issues, this is another fact, this is another fact, this is that. Then you go to the yellow art to say, what are the benefits of solving this problem? What benefits do we stand to derive if we solve this problem? That's the yellow art. What benefits do we? So if we solve gun violence problem, what are the benefits? Nobody will die anymore. Young people can go to the mall. Everybody can play. You don't have to live in fear. You can go to school. You can go anywhere. You know that nobody's trying to kill you. Only policemen will have guns and blah, 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 blah. And then we go to green art. What are the innovative ways to solving the problem? Don't just look for one way. Look for at least 5. What are the options? What if we do this? What if we do that? What if we do that? What if we do this one? What if we do this? And so what are the creative ways of solving the problem? And then you go to black art. What are the things that can stand in the way? What are the dangers involved? And how do we navigate? So what can mess up your plan? What can obstruct your plan? what are those things that are likely going to go wrong if you try to solve this problem? So you list as many things that can go wrong, and then you look at how do we mitigate against it. So as we're solving this problem, for example, gun problem, what can go wrong? Part of what can go wrong is maybe police can now become very wicked and very brutal. So how do we mitigate against that? Do we change laws and ensure that anybody who kills somebody, even by mistake, you're going to get killed almost immediately? So you look for what can go wrong, and then you mitigate against the red art. How does this make you feel? Everything you've done, how does it make you feel going ahead to solve this problem? This is where you search your heart. Do I really want to solve this? Do I think this is needed? Then blue art, after you have done all the art, blue art is now the process. What are the step by steps that we must follow? So based on everything I've done so far, what do I think is the step 1? What do I think is step 2? What do I think is step 3? What do I think is step 4? What step? Like 7 steps to solving the problem. Yeah. So this, I want you to pick the same problem you wanted to solve last week and now follow this to answer the question. Whatever problem you wanted to solve for humanity, what is the white art? Fact. Yellow art, benefits of solving the problem. Green art, creative ways of solving the problem. Blue art, what can go wrong and how do we overcome what can go wrong? Red art, how do I feel about solving this problem? Blue art, what is the step-by-step process that I can do immediately in solving the problem? Do you understand this? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? Let me see you on the chat box. Yes or no? Let me be sure that you understand these problem-solving techniques. All right. Where are you? Okay, Joshua understands it. Kalik understands it. So with this, you should make your task better against next week. Good. And so I'm going to end today with this. And I want us to read it together. All right. Our deepest fear. And it's a poem by Miriam Williamson. Okay. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Can we go together? We want to go. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are our light most frightening. We ask ourselves, who am I to be feared? Just fabulous. Actually, a child of God, there's nothing in life
Your face small does
so that other
not
people will
serve
bless
the
you around you.
world. There's
We are
nothing
all meant to shine as
about
children of
you
God.
Twinkling, so that other
Want to
people
make
will
yourself
not
real
feel
so that
insecure about you.
it's a
We are all
feel
meant to shine
around
out
you.
children
We
do.
are meant to
Word of
shine.
God
A
must make
children
manifest
do.
the glory of
Let
God that is within us. It's not
manifest
just us, the
the
Son of God
glory of
is
God that within
in
us
everyone, and we
is
let
within us.
we let
It
our
is
light
not
actually give
just
us
in
permission to do the
some,
same.
it's in everyone. And as we let our light shine, we unconsciously give others.
Good. Well done. What this is saying is that you are limitless. God brought you here for a purpose, and you must not accept anything lower than the reason God brought you here. That your light must shine, right? You must not give in to your inadequacy that maybe I'm not good enough. No, you are good enough. As a matter of fact, you are the best that exists, and you must say that to yourself all the time, because as you let your light shine, you also give permission for other people to shine their light. So I want to thank you again for today. And I want you to go approach the problem of last week with a thinking art model, 6 thinking art, and submit your task. I hope you have learned something new today. Okay, so let me ask you, what have you learned today? Can you raise your hand and let me see what you've learned today? Who is raising his hand?
Today I've learned that a leader knows who they are, what they want to achieve. A leader also has many different ways to solve a problem. They help other people shine and thrive also.
Who else? Go ahead, Daniel.
I learned that leaders are both born and made. And when we understand the making of a disciplined leader, it becomes easier to depend.
Okay, good. Mubarak.
I learned that leaders make other leaders, and leaders don't. They share their ideas and they share what they know so that other people can become leaders just like them.
Good. Habib.
I learned that leaders are people that are very courageous to make tough decisions in tough times, and also leaders are also the people that shares ideas and make sure everybody's as smart as like everybody has the best idea and the best way to go about it possibly.
Okay, good. Who else? Abidin. Okay,
I learned that a
Well,
leader doesn't have to be powerful, but just has to be a great leader and think positive. Also, a leader has to also has to follow the rules, even though he has to make great choices about it. And I also learned that leaders are both made and born.
Well done. Well done. I'm so proud of you. Okay. Thank you,
Elsa,
everyone. Who else?
can I say something?
Okay.
This is Jamaldine. Okay, I learned that leaders there are different leaders based on their personalities and how they lead.
Okay. That's good. Well done. Well done, everyone. I'm so proud of you. Right. So go ahead and use that model to attempt to solve the problem, and we'll see you next week for our final class. Yeah. So I hand you over to
PF. Thank you so much, as usual, for your time, your dedication. Something that stood out, which you've also demonstrated, is your selfless mindset. You're always willing to help. Something that keeps you up is, how can I make the world better? How can I make kids better? And you've also demonstrated this with your dedication for our cause. I really appreciate you more than you can ever imagine. On behalf of myself and the kids, we are still saying thank you, the same way we said thank you last week. Thank you so much for your time and making time out of your very busy schedule. Guys, can you say thank you together to PF?
Thank you, PF.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, PF.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right, see you next week,
Thank
PF.
you.